Hello and welcome back, beautiful soul, to another episode with another beautiful and amazing soul, Diane Huth. This is your host, Angel Lady Terry Marie, and this is Permission to Follow Your Inner GPS, your inner guided purpose soul path. Everyone has one, and let's help you get on your way to yours more freely, more visibly, and more in tune with who you are and what you came here to do. Diane Huth is known as the Accidental Career Coach. She's a marketing guru, a university professor, author of 2 best-selling career guides. She wrote her first book, Brand You, to land your dream job and to teach her college students and young professionals how to find a great job. So please welcome with me, Diane Huth. Hello, gorgeous.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, and I can't wait because we did a little bit of chitter-chatter before we got started today. So I have a teeny tiny sneak peek into what we're going to be talking about, and I can't wait. So please, Diane, tell us more about you and what it is you do.
Well, thank you so much. As you said, I'm known as the Accidental Career Coach, and this is a moniker that I developed a couple years ago. I'm not a human resource professional. I have not been a recruiter, and yet I'm a career coach because I've always worked in marketing and branding for big companies like Johnson & Johnson and Frito-Lay and Reynolds Tobacco and CBS Television and, big companies. I've always been in the marketing and branding department. A couple years ago, about 3 years ago, I started teaching at night as an adjunct professor at a couple universities, and I started teaching marketing and branding and marketing management. And I was stunned to discover that my bright, talented students didn't have a clue on how to get a job. So I went home and I spent a week writing frantically a presentation, which I gave them the next week. And then it grew up to be a seminar and a podcast, and it grew, not a podcast, a webinar and a seminar, and it grew up to be a book. Because everybody said, "Oh, I love that. Can you send me the slides?" Well, the slides aren't enough. So I had to write, so I wrote 50,000 words, sharing that with people. And then, so I'm working with young people, but then I discovered kind of a different calling. I was in an Uber driving from a meeting to the airport in Philadelphia a couple years ago, and I'm a career coach, and so what do you do? So I always talked to my Uber drivers and said, "What do you do?" And this lady looked at me and tears started running out of her eyes, and she gripped the steering wheel with white hands, and she actually had to pull off the road and say, "I've been unemployed for 2.5 years. I've got 2 master's degrees. I'm a certified product manager. I worked for a Fortune 100 company for 16 years. I was the technical expert, and I went in and I set up their call centers all over the country, and I've been out of work for 3 years, and I can't even get an interview, and I've lost my home, and I've lost everything, and I'm driving Uber to pay my rent." And it's like, how can this happen? And then I discovered all my friends and colleagues, as I was promoting my book, I would get like emails from friends and colleagues I'd worked with at Fortune 100 companies saying, "Can you help me? I really need help." And as I talk to them, I have dear friends who I know, well-credentialed, experienced, educated, excellent professionals who are making 6-figure income, who are living out of food banks and in their cars. And one of my dear friends lost his apartment, he got divorced, and that whole downward spiral and child support, and then he couldn't get a job. And then he ended up living at a ranch as a handyman with 2 master's degrees, top of his field in market research, because he couldn't get out of that spiral. So I really discovered what's happening with age discrimination, and I realized I'm unemployable. At my age, I couldn't even get an interview for the job that I had rocked and mastered 20 years ago. So
that is so sad that our society, and maybe it's worldwide, but I only know of the United States, right? And so it is really sad that in a lot of ways, expertise and experience, because of the number of physical years you've been here, is seen as a mark against, and that shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, and there's reasons for it. And there's three stakeholders. I've actually been researching this, and I actually formed a website and kind of a nonprofit organization. I'm not raising money or anything, but trying to get the message out. A platform against age discrimination. There's three parties. One is you yourself. If you don't have the skills, you're responsible for your own career development. If I don't get and learn the skills to be employable, then it's my responsibility. However, if I have the skills and I've kept those skills and I have the talent and the capabilities and I can't get an interview because of my age, then that's an employer problem. And the government is complicit in this and has a responsibility and an opportunity to help us in this process. Because if we can, the average age of retirement is 63. If as a country, we could move that 5 years forward and people my age could find meaningful work using our skills in many years, another 5 years, it would completely change the financial viability of our retirement system of Social Security. So there's macroeconomic reasons that this makes sense, helping workers stay employed. There's personal reasons that people need to be employed. So that's kind of my mission at this point, is to get the word out to help people realize why there's age discrimination, who's discriminating, how people are discriminating, then what you do to overcome it personally and professionally. So that's kind of my little stomping ground, what I'm talking about.
That is a huge stomping ground, my goodness, and so very much needed. And it's just wow. How did you start to transition from what you were doing to what you are doing?
And again, it's part of life's journey. I've worked for big companies for many years. The last 10 years I've been working with more entrepreneurial companies. I was a partner in a company, and we were doing some wonderful things, and the company was having the business model problems. We couldn't make enough money, and there were two of us who were running the company. We both had six-figure salaries, and we said the company can't support both of us. And I said, I don't want to do what you're doing. I don't want to be the operations day-to-day CEO, doing all that stuff. So I agreed to leave the company and go do other things. And I said, real quick, where can I find a job real quick? Well, I could find a job teaching. So I applied to 3 universities, and I got hired by all 3 of them. It almost killed me. 3 new employers, new jobs, new emails, new onboarding, new textbooks, completely different classes. I was really burning myself out. But it sorted out over the years. And right now I'm teaching regularly at one university, Texas A&M in San Antonio, and I teach at night. And then I've had a book that I wanted to write about marketing, and I have it all laid out and I teach it, and I was going to write that marketing book. And then this job branding, personal branding and job thing came up, and I said, I'll just knock that book out real quick and write it. So I've gained some experience when I write my big book. I've got it knocked. Well, 3 years later, never have gotten around to the other book.
No, because your purpose either got tweaked or you came into it more fully.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of future ahead of me. I plan on living and being active for another 20 years. You know what the definition of old age is?
No.
15 years older than you are today.
Okay.
Right?
I like that.
You think someone who's 30 is ancient. If you're 30, you think someone 45. If you're 50, you think somebody 65, and it just keeps your perspective changes. So
right.
I plan on 20 more good years, so I better get at it. I've got room for lots of things there. Lots more books and lots more teaching and training. But so I started teaching, and it pays very little, but I learned a lot. And in the past 3 years, I've been on a growth mission. I have been learning and growing every single day. And I'm blessed at my age to be able to do that, because so many of my peers have given up. They've just said, I don't want to learn new technology. I'm comfortable where I am. I'm not up to doing new things. And it's like, when you're through learning, you're through. Why should I give up? being a productive contributing because I'm afraid of technology. My generation invented technology. You know, we invented the computers. We invented the personal computers. You know, the cell phone was invented by my generation. All this technology was invented by my generation. The first man in the moon, right? And the modest technology that went into that. But yet we have been fearful of it. Part of it, it was really hard 25 years ago. 40 years ago, I took my first college programming class. You know, they gave you these manila key punch cards with the little crooked corner that you had to feed into the computer. It was before software happened, before software existed. Today, people don't know what it was. When hardware was a machine with no information that you had to program it, everything you wanted to do. So that was really hard. And we grew up with things like DOS prompt, you know, and black screens and little cursors. That was hard to do. And so I think a lot of people in my generation just said, this is really, really hard. I don't want to learn to do it. But today, technology is plug and play. It's everywhere. You can learn everything you want on YouTube for free, right? Instantly, on demand. So we have got to learn to change our attitudes and give up that fear of the unknown and fear of challenge and embrace it to live fully. Because otherwise, you're not going to live your life fruitfully. I can't imagine spending the next 20 years watching TV or playing golf or listening to soap operas or playing bridge. I can't imagine not constantly being learning and growing and developing.
So how did you for yourself get past or work through, you know, any specific challenge? Would you share with us one obstacle that you worked through for yourself to get where you are?
If we go way, way back.
Okay.
I don't know if I can share this. 25 years ago, I almost died of cancer.
That's a huge
obstacle. When you get a diagnosis of aggressive cancer and you've only got a 30% chance of surviving if you do aggressive treatment. That was a long time ago, and it was really bad stuff. And I, you know, had all these symptoms when the doctor got the biopsy finally, and they said, this is what you've got, and it's, you know, very low chance of survival. And I crawled into bed and cried for 3 days. And then I had to decide, I choose to live. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to choose to live every day. I had a 5-year-old child. And I said, I'm going to dance at my son's wedding. Now, that was 4 years ago, so I have to have new goals to keep going. You know, now I'm going to dance at my grandchild's wedding. I don't have a grandchild yet, but I keep going there. But I had to make a conscious choice to live. And a lot of times we don't make conscious choices to do something.
That's true.
And the other thing I discovered is you only grow and develop in times of pain. You don't ever stretch or grow in times of comfort and happiness. You're happy with the status quo. You want it to continue just the way it is because it's good. Only when you're in pain, and the pain of continuing the way you are is worse than the fear of going forward, do you change and develop. So adversity is good. You know, in many ways it leads me. Fear of being unworthy and not having a purpose in life leads me to grow and develop and learn. I spend at least 2 hours every day learning. I'm on podcasts, I'm on seminars, I'm in courses, I'm reading books, I'm listening to podcasts, at least 2 hours every day learning, because the older I get, the more that I realize I don't know. You know, when you were young, you thought you knew everything, right?
Yeah, when you're young, you got everything by the tail.
And the older I get, the more I know that I don't know. So the more there is there to learn and consume. So one of the things that I'm doing is, you know, I worked in corporate marketing and I was really good. I was top. I was vice president of marketing. I was director of marketing for big household name companies. I had staffs and teams. And today the market has changed. And not only could I not get that job that I had, it requires completely different skills. So I have been forced to learn those skills to gain continued relevance. One of the interesting things, I got 2 master's degrees 40 years ago. Does that matter to anybody today? What matters is that I learned how to build a Facebook page with 106,000 followers. That is more relevant today than 2 master's degrees 40 years ago. So it's what you're doing here and now to learn and grow and be relevant is what happens. And so as a marketer, I have had to completely reinvent myself, which is the title of my book, Reinvent Your Career, reinvent myself to be relevant today and to learn new skills and to learn new technology skills. My latest is I'm learning, a year ago I didn't know what a funnel was. So now I am working on ClickFunnels, and I just rebuilt my website on ClickFunnels, and I'm launching my online course, which is a funnel, and I'm building a tripwire to build a funnel. And so I've had to completely change everything I've done for 40 years to be relevant today. And it's not easy. It's not fast. It's not cheap. I've spent an awful lot of money learning and growing, and hindsight's 20/20, right? I wish that I knew then what I know now, because I wouldn't have made some of those bad financial decisions to get to where I am now, but I'm here because I made those decisions, whatever.
And I think that's so important. I think that's so important because people tend to, and I have, past tense, been guilty of that, it's like, I really wish I hadn't have done that. Well, that helped you get to here. There could have been a different choice, but you did the best you could at the time. Yeah. So, it's not that bad to, what do some of the posts say? You only fail when you don't try something new, because then you know what does work, what doesn't work. And within that piece, that investment that we did, and it was like, okay, that wasn't really right, but it was okay at the time. And you move forward.
One famous, and I can't remember if it was David Hewitt, some famous corporate leader 30, 40 years ago says, half of my advertising is wasted. My problem is I don't know which half. Right? And that's kind of where you are. So I've invested in all these things, and I've gotten where I am, so I have to be grateful for that. But we have to continue to reinvest, and that's one of the things that is kind of a platform of my book, which is called Reinvent Your Career, Beat Age Discrimination to Land Your Dream Job. That's the book I just brought out. And that is that career reinvention is you have to embrace new scary things and go places where you never imagined. This semester, I'm doing something interesting. I'm teaching at Texas A&M, and I've been teaching international marketing. And this time and today in college, a 3-credit hour class. You only have to be in class sometimes 1 hour, and then you do collaborative online team building the other 2 credit hours. No. My students, I want butt in chair. If I have 3 hours of your time, I'm going to spend 3 hours talking to you. I've got too much to share. And so in those classes, I always dragged all my friends and colleagues in, and I always had speakers in class. So I would always bring my business leader speakers in. And at the end of 2 years, they said, we love your speakers so much that we get such great feedback. Why don't you just do a speaker series? So now all I'm doing is bringing speakers in who are my friends, and I invite them to come and talk for 2 hours to my students. How cool is that?
That is very cool. Would you share with us one of your favorite ways to work with your clients?
Well, I'm launching a new online class right now, which is going to be above the fold resume class, how to write a resume. And I'm learning the new technology. It's an online course with coaching through Facebook groups and things like that. But most of the time I work one-on-one, doing career coaching and development. I write some resumes, but I really would prefer to teach you how to write your own resume, because then you'll always have the skills. But I work that way with clients, in addition to teaching young ones.
So what else would you like to share with our viewers today, beautiful?
Well, could I give them a gift?
Absolutely.
I have, if you go to my website, it's DianeHuth.com, my name, DianeHuth.com. There's a bunch of things there, but I have a gift for my mature followers. If you're over 45 or 50, you might be interested. It's called reinventmycareerplease.com, and it's a downloadable 15-page document that teaches you all the reasons that you as a mature professional have value and how you can express that value to an employer. So it's a free downloadable gift called reinventmycareerplease.com.
Reinventmycareerplease.com. That's the URL. And if you want to visit Diane on her primary website, it's Diane Huth, DianeHuth.com.
Mm-hmm.
And can they find you on
in ClickFunnels?
Okay. And how can they find you on social media?
I'm all over social media. My Facebook page is Brand You Guide, and I've got some groups affiliated with that, and I've got a Twitter handle, but Facebook is where I spend my most times. I try and do a Facebook Live at least 3 times a week with tips and training. I've also got a YouTube channel with 60 videos of training and tips and career information, helping people figure out how to find that wonderful job that they deserve.
Excellent. Thank you so very much for being here. I have enjoyed it. It is a different perspective on reinventing yourself. And don't we always want to be doing it? Well, not everyone wants to do that, but some of us want to continue to move forward and to grow beyond where we are, because who I am now won't get me to where I want to be. I get to be someone else. I get to be the newest, best version of me.
And on average, we have 3 completely different careers in our life. So what's your next career waiting for you? Got to go discover it.
Yes.
And I'm not done. Who knows where this is going to take me? I don't make any money writing books. So it's got to go someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking forward to discovering what that new place is. Right?
I'm sure you will. There's no doubt in my mind, none whatsoever. Thank you so much for being here. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to be here with you and with your followers.
Thank you. Hello, beautiful soul. So now we come to a completion for this time. Please stop by angeldreamteam.com and get your free, easy to follow guide. Become a mover and shaker of your reality. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.